that they'll hear. But Orpheus sleeps on his back, still dead to the world.
What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. You ever feel like your glasses are too close? Okay, welcome back to the channel. I hope that you're having a wonderful day. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Thank you for your presence. I appreciate that. We are going to finish off the album Focus 2 by Focus, aka Moving Waves, released in 1971 with the track Eruption, the final track, the sidelong track, the 22-minute and 35-second track off of the album. So, in very quick succession, we had listened to the other tracks following Hocus Pocus, and how different is the rest of this album, at least the first side, compared to that first track? Like completely different. So with Eruption, I'm expecting, I don't know, but I'm expecting it to get back to at least a somewhat similar vibe to the first track, maybe with some yodeling, maybe some more classical, jazzy, progressive, fusion-esque guitar and just melodies and music. You know, that's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting Eruption to be kind of the perfect meld of the whole thing of the first side. But we shall soon find out. This is one of those tracks that a lot of you have been waiting for a very long time, so I'm happy to finally get to sit down and listen to it with you guys. I hope that you guys enjoy the video. Of course, you're more than welcome to like the video and subscribe and all that stuff, but if it's your first time here, please don't make it your last. And if it is your last time, if you've already skipped all of this, that's okay. I don't mind. If you do enjoy any of the video or any of the videos on the channel, please share it, by the way. I forget to say that a lot, but share the video. Share it on your Facebook, on Reddit, on wherever you think people might enjoy the videos. All right, without further ado, let's get. Oh, before I do so this track is broken down into multiple subsections, and apparently, first of all, it's instrumental because I didn't see any lyrics, so I'm not expecting any singing. But apparently, it's an instrumental kind of interpretation of the story of Orpheus, the Greek story. Long story short, Orpheus goes down to hell, rocks out with the gods, takes his wife back. That's the main gist of the story. He's a poet, he's a musician, he's a muse. He goes down, sways the gods, and convinces Hades to allow him and his wife to leave. And so he brings her back to not the underworld, but our world. So that's at least kind of like the general story. Let's see how they interpret that here with Eruption. Let's go. that was a lot. That was a lot. A lot of good. I like how they gave us a little celebration at the end with the fireworks. Did you hear the way that he's playing the drums there? Listen, hold on. Let me put the volume down. They popped off some fireworks at the very end like a little celebration. That's kind of cool. The way that the drums kind of emulated that. Or like an eruption. Duh. I didn't even think about that. This track has everything in it. Listen to the pop. Listen to the popcorn. That's so cool. That's so cool. It sounds like popcorn or fireworks. This was a really good track. All right, so first of all, we didn't get any yodeling. We did get some kind of choir-ish vocals in a few sections in the track, which I really, really liked. But we didn't get any like yodeling or anything like that as we did in Hocus Pocus. So, at least on this album, it seems that Hocus Pocus was the exception and not the rule. Because this is closer to everything else that came after Hocus Pocus, even though we still got some of those really, really hard rock guitar parts that you got in Hocus Pocus. That was really good. This track really combines everything. This feels like a classical piece with all of its different movements, all of its different reprises, everything. Like, it feels like a big piece of classical music, a very modern piece of classical music. I really have to say, though, I don't know about you guys, but I really gotta say that the standout is Ackerman. I don't see how he's not. I mean, everyone is doing more than pulling their weight, but Ackerman, from the soft pastoral guitars, the sweet lifting notes, the volumes and the sweeps of the guitar, and the vocal lines of it, it's just so melodic, to honestly just downright hard rock riffs and guitar solos. The two guitar solos that I would say are like the two, at least to me, stars in the track. The first one is just incredibly beautiful. It is incredibly beautiful. The returns are never diminished on that. I love that. It reminds me of the solo in Firth of Fifth. Remember how the guitar solo keeps on building up with the music, builds up to those big movements, the bass pedals come in, and it has that grand eruption, and then the music slowly kind of works its way down from that climax, and then slowly, especially with guitar, towing the line, building it back up to that once again eruption, blasting us, and then bringing it back down again. The exact same thing is done here in Eruption with that guitar solo. It's wonderful. That's chilling. I love that movement. I love when a band understands dynamics and ups and downs. You have to have your ups and downs. You don't want to be too high all the time. You don't want to be low all the time. You gotta put a little swing in your step. That solo was like icing on the cake. I don't even know how to describe it. It just felt really good. Incredibly good. And then the second solo, where Ackerman starts to really get down on that nasty tone. Really, really good tone, by the way. Pseudo hard rock. I mean, not even pseudo. It's just he's getting down and rocking. And I really enjoy how the rest of the band, they all have their separate thing, right? But a lot of times, for example, the organ will double with the guitar to kind of give it a little different kind of sound, a different kind of tone, a different kind of strength. Then, for example, the organ will back off, start doing its own melodic line, and maybe the bass comes in and fills with the guitar, kind of doubling back that. And then maybe the guitar will drop out. And now the drums, if you listen to the patterns, start to work in line with the bass. That's really nice. That's really good. Not every member got a solo, as far as I could tell, but most of the members did. Obviously, Ackerman, guitar. Obviously, Van Leer, he got an organ solo in there. Who's playing bass again? I'm so sorry. Who's playing bass? Cyril Havermans. He's playing bass, and he's getting not a solo, but there's a specific moment in here, and I'll have to see if I can find it. It's maybe about 3/4 of the way through. And while he's not playing a solo, everyone else kind of is. There's a little pocket of air that's left in that moment, and in every single return. And he comes in on that beat, and he always plays a little bit of a different fill. So even though it's not a solo necessarily, it's somewhere between a solo and a fill, the way that he plays bass. which I thought was really cool specifically in that moment. Because as we heard, we definitely got a drum solo from Pierre, and got a few drum solos, and great solos. Can I say really quick, specifically about the drum solos, that I like drum solos the way that Pierre played them. Because it wasn't just a whole bunch of, and I'm going to use the word random, but random is not necessarily what I mean. It's not just a bunch of random fills and rhythms that don't go anywhere, that don't groove. They're just kind of like, okay, let me show you how fast I can play and how many things I can play per second. How many pieces of this drum kit I can get through in 1 second. And it gets kind of boring. Here, his drum solos were very tasteful, I thought. One, they fit with the music, which is what you want to do. And two, like the last one, it actually built a groove. And even though that groove like changed into something completely different afterwards, at least the solo spot had a groove. It had a movement. You could move to it. I like that. It wasn't just a bunch of abstract, fills and throws and stuff. And it's like, okay, I see what you're doing. And yes, it's impressive on one hand, but I don't want to listen to that for so long. I like what he was doing in here. The beginning was absolutely sublime, by the way, in here. Let me go back to the very beginning of this track, because I loved that. The softer moments in here, I'll admit, those are like my favorites. Can't help but be reminded, like we mentioned last time, of Camel, especially when Van Leer brings out the flute. That's just raining in that countryside beauty. That is sunlight over the fields. That feels good, and especially the way the musicians, of course, play around that. The piano, you get some mellotron that comes in at some points. Let me bring the beginning up here really quick, because I really like this atmosphere we get built up with the guitar. I don't know if it's a volume pedal, maybe that's kind of allowing the notes to rise and kind of sweep around, or not. I'm not a guitarist, but I do like that sound a lot. It's like little melodic cries, and then you have the organ, which is just like the current beneath that. Listen to this. See, this is like what Hackett does, right? In Genesis. He uses that same technique a lot, and I love it. Is that the volume pedal that like he's stepping on while he's playing the notes so he can control the actual volume of it, bring them up and down? I think so. I think that's what you guys have mentioned before. By the way, I would say that like a lot of my knowledge that I've learned throughout doing this channel is because of you guys and just reading your comments. So please keep doing that, because you're educating me whether you know it or not. I don't remember everything, but I read almost everything. All right, so coming back to this, at least initially, I'm getting put in a cathedral. I'm getting put in this dark purple, light purple stained glass church, and I'm just allowing the light to come through me and fill me in with this holy sanctimony. It feels great. Purple's my favorite color, so I can't help but the album cover is already drawing me in aesthetically. The music is doing the same way, filtering its light. If you push on a little bit, it comes a little thicker, but it's good here. This comes out of nowhere. But listening to that, doesn't that kind of like, if you just listen to the notes or the movement, the rhythm, doesn't it kind of feel like a kind of jazz fusion-y classical blend there? There's something about that feels more akin to classical and jazz than, for example, to rock. Must be the rhythm. Very cinematic, by the way. And I love these little fills there. And that feels really good. And then back to this. So I like how in just, 3 minutes is that? Yeah, exactly 3 minutes. I like how they're already introducing you to a lot of elements and they're reusing that. Because here on Wikipedia I have the movements broken down, and it's just character names. So, for example, I couldn't tell you which part relates to which piece in the movements here, because it's not like they're really broken up audibly. At least on a first listen, I can't tell you. I have no idea. But just to kind of really quickly read them off, you got Orpheus, answer, pupilla, Tommy. That's Tommy stands out. That name doesn't work with the rest of them. Pupilla, answer, the bridge, Eurydice, Dayglow, endless road, answer, Orpheus, Eurydice. So is this a conversation, basically? This may be a conversation that they're kind of interpreting, or maybe they are acts. of this opera, because I see that it's actually supposed to be a loose rock adaptation of Orpheus and Eurydice from the opera Eurydice. So, seeing as how I've never heard that opera, I don't know if the story I relayed in the beginning is actually what's being sung and spoken of there. So, I could be wrong. So, just ignore me. So, listen, it's a first listen. I'm not going to get it right. But I do like how you can hear the distinct sections in the music, even though I couldn't say which ones quite fit. And then you get the reprises of those sections later on. For example, me reading Orpheus, which we have 1, 2, 3 times in here, I did hear one of the beginning sections reoccur later on in the end. And I thought that was a really cool callback to that. But yeah, you know where I'm going. You got the drum solo. Sounds good, right? That's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about this. Here's your climax. That is melodic paradise, guys. It's just incredibly romantic. And even though the notes are staying well sustained, well sung, you feel the energy from that burst kind of begin to mellow out. Begin to come down a little bit. Oh my god, this may be one of the greatest solos in progressive rock, right? I know it's first listen, but hear me out. And listen. You know what I mean? Does that make sense now? What I meant when I said, like, it's like Firth of Fifth. That solo, Hackett's solo, it builds you up, then the bass pedal hits and it just collapses. Burns down the building. I think that that's my favorite solo and my favorite moment in this track. I think without a doubt. The second solo that comes after is really good too. But this... Pulling up just a little past this. God, that sounds good. This is good. This is good. Let me pull it past that. All right, we get down and dirty. Complete shift in moods. Harding. That is hard rock organ beneath this blazing solo. This completely changes to the other side of the coin, and yet, as we've just heard, this is both two sides of the same coin. And the skill that all the members demonstrate throughout is impeccable. It's like a stampede of just everything. But if you listen to that organ, and of course we know that rock and roll came from the blues, and listen to the organ specifically, it's very bluesy. Even the bass, very bluesy. And you can hear how it's just being built off that. I find that really cool as someone who's, I still consider myself like a newborn when it comes to like, progressive rock music from the 70s and, older music. I'm still like a baby, So I still find it very cool, like hearing this, like, yeah, I know a lot of you guys grew up with it, but for me coming back and looking back, it's like, that is really, really cool to hear that progression and to understand the history behind it all. Then, like I said, you got Van Leer gets a little organ solo here. See, there's those bass fills. Listen. Ba, 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 ba. He's not just playing along and creating the melodic rhythm that, of course, a bass would. He's not just playing along, but in those little pockets, you hear him kind of going off a little bit. So it's almost like you're getting two solos at the same time for the price of one, because the beat is like dun dun da 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 dun dun da 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 da, and in that da 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 da, that's where he's getting his work done. Pull it back again. Returns. This is Camel. This is Camel, Snow Goose, Glade. This isn't a Glade. And I love these. I don't want to say they're Gregorian chants because I don't think that would be considered a Gregorian chant, but I love that type of singing in the first place. This type of singing like a choir. And I don't know why. My mind pictures so many different places listening to music, especially instrumental. But I'm in the side of a carved out mountain. And carved out is this cave that it's like this church of natural worshippers who worship like the earth and nature, and no one knows who they are, where they are. They're just quietly in their cave mountain, just worshiping it. They've carved out artwork and designs, and it's like the most natural church you could find. That's what I'm hearing. I know it's weird, but that's what I'm hearing. That's gorgeous. So even though we don't get a return of yodeling per se, we still get a demonstration of what Van Leer can do. So this album, which is their second album, right? Did I say this is the second album? Yeah, this is the second album. Okay. So this album seems to capture a wide scope of all of the members' abilities. So yes, there isn't a wacky, for lack of a better word, demonstration of yodeling and manic energy like the first track, but perhaps we didn't need any. Perhaps this is just a big showcase of what the band can do, and here they feel comfortable doing what they can do. They feel comfortable in the stage that they've set, and they're ready to move forward from here. Just saying. Just saying. The worship begins to get some spirit. There's a holy fervor going on amongst the pews. And this is all Van Leer, because he's also taking care of the organ. And that section, I don't know for sure. We're about 17 minutes out of 23. Maybe, I can't tell you, like I said, because I don't know which section relates to which instrumental piece. But since that's Van Leer, maybe this is the Dayglow part. Maybe, because I think the next drum solo by Pierre is after this, I think. So that would be Endless Road. So maybe this is Dayglow, which feels right because it feels like a sunrise. It feels like the glow of the day. I think after this is the drum solo. Let me see. Yeah, it is. Okay, so I think so. Because this part is Pierre, drummer, and this is Endless Road, which he is credited to. This is that groove I'm talking about in a drum solo. I love that. And it's an interesting groove. And there's a lot of room to fill. There's a lot of room to breathe and let your creativity flow. Listen to the kicks that he gets into, though, because they get really fast. Hold on. Hear that? You know what that sounds like? That sounds like helicopter rotors. Just spinning. Just like that sound. That's the sound of his kicks. What's going on? It's like the Flight of the Valkyries in Apocalypse Now. By the way, on my other channel, just JP Plus, I watched Apocalypse Now. If you want, you can click the link at the bottom. Anyways, but yeah, I can't help it. That's what it reminded me of. Doesn't it sound like helicopter rotors? Now, out of that, if I remember correctly, we just get into a little organ spill. Oh no, it goes back to this section. There you go. Now you get your parade of reprisals as they begin here. Before we end the track in those fireworks, popcorn noises that I mentioned before, it's all a good time. This was a really, really cool track. This was great to listen to. I had a great time listening to this one. Now, like I said, I know that this is based off of the opera Eurydice. So, can we get a synopsis, perhaps, of Eurydice, so we can maybe kind of relate what we've heard to the actual music here and the story of it? I'm looking online to see if there's kind of a quick little synopsis that we can read, kind of look at. I actually don't see one. I actually don't see a synopsis. I mean, I'm assuming it's just based off of the story, like I kind of said before. But I just wanted a quick little synopsis. I found a little something here. It says that the story opens with Eurydice happy at her approaching wedding with her bridegroom, Orpheus, equally delighted, until a messenger appears telling him of the fatal snakebite and the death of his beloved. Okay, it actually seems like it's going to be an exact adaptation of the actual original story. A shepherd describes the grief of Orpheus, who is in the following scene led by Venus to the gates of Hades. The king of the underworld, Pluto, is persuaded. Pluto? I mean Hades. This ain't Roman times. Persuaded by the music of Orpheus and Charon and Proserpine, to allow Eurydice to accompany Orpheus back to the upper world again, and all ends in rejoicing. Okay, so it's the exact same story. I just wanted to make sure and see that there wasn't like a different interpretation of the original Greek story, tragedy, in Mr. Giulio Caccini's and Jacopo Peri's adaptation of the opera. Anyways, this was really fun to listen to. I hope that you guys enjoyed the music. Thank you for being here. It's a long song Saturday, and I hope that, like you had a good time. It sounds so basic, but I hope that you just had a good time. Thank you for being here. I appreciate your presence. If you'd like, you're more than welcome to stay. First of all, you don't have to let this be your last video. You can come back tomorrow. You can go back and watch all the other videos that I've done. You can subscribe to the channel. You can like the video. Don't forget, if you do enjoy this video, or if you have any other video on the channel, you're more than welcome to share it. You can also support the channel on Patreon if you want to do that. But otherwise, that's kind of it. I hope that you had a good one. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great rest of your day. I'm done. You can go out now and go enjoy the rest of your day. Maybe you're driving in the car, and I hope you're not watching me, but maybe you're listening to me. Drive safely. Make sure the phone is down. You can listen, but just don't watch. If you're sitting comfortable on your couch, TV, my face is on the big screen, I'm talking to you. Now's the time to get up off the couch. I don't know, get some food and come back and watch another video. All right, I'm done. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. Seriously. I'll talk to you later. Bye.